Hi, in this video I'll be replacing the belts on the Sherwood double cassette deck model DD-2010C. Let's get stuck into it. For that I have a general kit that I bought. I actually bought 4 of them over time, and I should be able to find the belts that I need in these kits to rebuild this machine with. First, let's get rid of what's left of the old belts. That's 2. And that's what's left of the 3rd one. Wrists on that flywheel, behind that flywheel. Yeah. And I think I'll begin by removing these 4 screws and take out the whole mechanism. These cable ties look like they made out of fishing line. Just tied fishing line. So I have to cut through that as well. Yeah, fishing line or guitar strings, I don't know, they're a bit stretchy. So you could get guitar strings too. Like that. Yeah. That's okay. That gives me a bit more room to work with. And it all plugs in on the board here, here, and the recording head here, and one more here. And for these hard to get to places, I have these tiny screwdrivers with a big good grip on it, and I can get in there with that pretty easily. As well as these 2 screws. And I'll remove these 2 screws on the side of the fascia, as well as 2 more on the other side, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4 on the underneath side. There's somewhat grubby looking record level knob, and that nut is to come off as well. And for that I'll just use these pliers. And like that, the whole fascia separates from the chassis. I probably should have done this before, but I'm going to remove the cassette door covers. And now the mechanism will come separate from the fascia, like that. Next I'm going to remove these 4 screws and remove the backing plates. And it's on this pulley here that the counter belt goes to the counter, this way, here. That will be going from this pulley here to this pulley here. That's the counter belt. And I have unplugged these 2 connectors. It's better to unplug them than break the cables. And I might do the same with the connectors to the heads as well. Just using these pliers again. And I've marked these as an O and an I for an outer and an inner one on these connectors here. And one more connector here I'll have to disconnect. and now have the mechanism fully out of the chassis. High quality mechanism here we're dealing with, obviously. Steel belts coming off of these pulleys here. Semi-solid, semi-liquid. And there's still remnants of the belts here on the inside of the flywheel. On that pulley, that pulley, that's the belt for this clutch here. That pulley there with the clutch. This will be an identical belt. I'm going to clean all the pulleys that I can get to, and then I'll clean the motor pulley last. For that, I'm going to use some toothpicks and dig out whatever I can mechanically, whatever's left of those belts there still, like that bit there, and other bits and pieces from these pulleys, and then clean them with Q-tips and alcohol. And this is what's coming off. Now I'm going to clean the pulleys with these Q-tips and alcohol. And this pulley here was relatively clean. The belt didn't actually get stuck to it, it fell off and dropped down. This one's going to be about the same, but the inner pulley on this flywheel, that's going to be even a bit more filthy, I'm guessing. The capstan pulleys themselves are relatively clean. I'm just quickly going to give them a quick clean with this again. Actually, these are not pulleys, they're just flywheels. The two plastic pulleys are underneath the flywheel. I thought there was like a two double pulley on the underside of the flywheel. And there's still a whole bunch of belts bunched up in there on the motor pulley. Yeah, that doesn't come through too well, but it's there. And trying to pull out the flywheel, pulling on the capstan, pulling on the flywheel and pushing on the capstan from the other side has resulted in this, where the whole flywheel came off the capstan. And that's the two pulleys on the back of the flywheel that I was talking about. That should make it easier to clean them up, as well as lubricating the capstan itself. And a bit more filth on these pulleys here on the flywheel. And I did say we are working with a high quality mechanism, didn't I? And on the back of the flywheel there is this washer. I'll try not to lose that, but yeah, it does move around. I'll try not to lose that washer there. Same story on the second flywheel. And these double flywheels are a little bit dirtier than the other ones. Well, the pulleys on the flywheels are a bit dirtier. Let's see, let's just see. How heavy are these flywheels? Just for future reference. 50 grams for this flywheel. I've got some other cassette decks that I'll be doing, and just for reference, 50 grams. I think I'll remove the motor, this sealed screw there, from the inside here, and to clean the pulleys on that motor there. That's a bit filthy. And I think this is the only screw that the motor is actually mounted on. But the green Loctite makes it a bit hard to undo. Especially for the size of a screwdriver needed, which is something like this. But I was able to get these screwdrivers with this handle that slips over the handle, giving you a better grip, and I was able to do it with that. So that's off. Don't lose that screw, and let's have a look how filthy the pulley is. Yep, filthy. So I've put that screw back in the motor chassis, and as you can see, there's a lot of rubber belts bunched up on there. A whole heap of them on that brass pulley. Lots and lots. Yeah. It seems they all the pieces wound themselves up on that on this pulley here. So I'll just keep on going with that. Yeah, all the way onto the shaft by the looks of things. A bit more. Getting there. This is a label on the motor, and I was able to get that shaft and the pulley pretty clean, something that I'm happy with. And note the mounting on this motor, just on that screw, and this is just a pin that it mounts on like that. Before I lubricate anything, I'll have to figure out what belts to throw on it. So it's been a while since I looked at this machine. Yeah, really. So lubrication was in order next, and I think I might have all the belts that I need for this. And the old counter belt, I'm not sure where it is. I might have misplaced it or put it somewhere else. But with these flywheels, they come off the capstan for a reason, like that. And that's because the capstan is supposed to go out through that way to the front. Except it probably, oh yeah. Yeah, it probably won't because of the cassette door. It hits the cassette door right here before it can come out. So yeah, quality deck. It'd be easier to lubricate that way anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't affect anything that I'm doing here now. Yeah, second flywheel. Okay, so let's lubricate the capstans that don't come out. Same with this one, I would imagine. This one might actually come out. This one does actually come out with the capstan washer. So I'll just put it aside for a moment. So I want to lubricate the capstans. So really this one won't come out? No, this one, oh yeah, it does come out. That's the second capstan. I'll lubricate them both and put them back in. And yeah. First I'll give the capstans a bit of a clean internally. That's coming out pretty clean as it is. No major dirt there. A bit of plastic underneath the mechanism, and for this machine I'm going to use some of this to lubricate the capstan bearings. A drop or two in here. And then lubricate the shafts as well. And one by one put them back in where they came from, through the front on this one. as such, and spread the oil around in there like that. I could probably do with some more on the front bearing. So yeah, a drop or two everywhere, mainly to the front bearing of the capstan, but yeah, you get that. Same on this one. Yeah, I'm going to have to clean all that up. The capstan can go in. That's the one here. That's the lubricated one. Coat it with some more oil, and that can go in now. Through the front for some reason. Get a good grip on it. Yeah. You slippery capstan, you want to stay there, stay there. I'll do the other one now first. Through the front. That's one. Where did the second one go? There. So that oil would have just drained off of it. And second bite at the cherry. And they both in now. I'm going to have to give a good clean to everything around there where the excess oil is. And there's a lot of it there. Same here. And that's going to take more than one Q-tip. I'll just keep on doing that until it's clean. So I managed to get most of that oil out of it, but I'll give it a second clean later. Yeah, I can see a bit more cleaning to do now, but yeah, that's not a big issue. I'll thoroughly clean both pinch rollers before putting the backing plates on. Also, I want to put a couple of drops of that oil in the motor. The motor's got to come out again anyways, before I can fit the belts on it. Work that all in. And clean up the excess. Yep, that looks good. And give the motor shaft a clean. Not so much the motor shaft as the pulley on the motor, just in case I got some oil on there as well. Don't think I did, but it don't hurt to do that again. and clean up the excess oil from the capstan shaft on this end of things. Like that. Using alcohol, I'm going to degrease this end of the capstan shaft before, or both of them, before I fit the flywheels back on it. Throw the washers on the flywheel and give it a bit of a grease up, and they can get back in there. And holding the capstan from the other side with my finger, fit the first flywheel like that, as well as the second one. And that is a fairly tight fit, like that. And give those pulleys underneath the flywheel one final clean. Yeah. On the both of them. This one looks like, or it sounds like it's going to be squeaky clean. It's a little bit coming off, so I might go on it again. On top of all the belts that I have, and this might be the counter belt, I think. Okay, so I've got everything lubed up, all the flywheels installed and everything, and I think I'm going to use the belts from that general kit. I had a bit of a dummy run with these, the shorter ones and the longer ones. These are 0.8 mil, I think, and I'm going to go with the shorter thin belts. I've got a fair few of them. Let's go with that. This is a longer belt. It's not really tight, it's not really loose. And this is going to be the shorter belt. This is definitely not loose, and it's a little bit tighter if anything. Maybe even too tight. So maybe I'll go with a longer one. This seems to have plenty of tension in it. Yeah, maybe with the longer ones. So I think on the left I'll go with the top pulley on the motor to clear all these things here, and on this side I'll go with the bottom pulley. I'll do this for now on both sides. It's going to go under there. Let's get the motor out. As I said earlier, this one's going to go on the top pulley, so I need to put this on first. And that'll go on the bottom pulley. Not like that. maybe put the motor in there like that. And now I should be able to swing it on there with the hook. Like this. That's come off. It's going to go on there. And this is on. So now I need to fit that top screw. Actually, I don't like what's happening here. These cables should probably go on top and the belt on the bottom. So let me redo this. And for that reason, maybe try it the other way around, like this. Come on, man. It's just sitting on the edge of that hook. That's not going to hold, it's going to let go. No, it does hold. Yeah, so that's maybe better. And I'll just tie the cables here together, and that should be good, I hope. And these are not too tight. There's a bit of adjustment on the motor as well. That will work. Yeah, put that screw in that holds the motor bracket. It goes in from the opposite side. Just in here, and you can see that slot here. It's got a little bit of adjustment both ways if my thumb wasn't in the way. So just snug for now. That's the wrong screwdriver, but that's in. And both belts been exactly the same length. You'll have to sit somewhere in the center. If you're like me and you don't have Loctite, I've got some green nail polish, and if I used fishing line to put this together, I wouldn't be surprised if I use nail polish as well. That'll lock the screw in place, and that's not going anywhere. Before I put the mechanism back in, I might clean up that pinch roller a bit, and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, the capstan and the heads from this side, as well as give that pinch roller a good clean. Capstan as well, and the heads on both of the decks. And then go to fit the mechanism into the chassis. So let's just say, see, it's a bit, there's still a bit coming off. So let's say I have cleaned up all this to my satisfaction on both decks. As well as the heads. Only one head on the playback deck. I'll clean the pinch roller as well here. That's pretty clean. Now also it would be a good time to put these backing plates back on. There. Just going to find the screws, and I think that would be these four. That's all right. There. And same with the other side. This is door side A, or deck A and deck B, but you're going to be amused by what they did on inside here. They also got it marked like that, so the person in the factory knows what fascia to stick on it, and same goes for the inside of the A deck. Yep. Now to screw it all off, and these two end screws seem to be different than the rest of the screws. The two end screws are thicker as compared to the other screws being like that. And whether it's saved on fishing line, for cable ties, they did at least give you a removable bottom cover on this one. Two more screws per side here. Oh, that's not clever. I forgot the counterbelt. I think I'll have to take off the backing plate on this deck and fit it in through there. So that's easy enough. After taking off that backing plate, I'll just feed it through here. You can see what I'm doing. And I can't see what I'm doing. Just fold it in half. Feed it through here. Hook it on here. And then just hook it on here on the counter pulley. Overshot it, of course. I can do a lot better with my right hand than with my left hand. That is on. If it focused, I could even, yeah, anyway. That's your counter moving there. And it stopped focusing. Yes, not much better. Thanks, Google. This is how it works. So I've refitted the backing cover. Let's fit the cassette door covers back on, like that, and deck A. What are you doing? It's not going on evenly, that's all. Like this and like that. And none of this had to come off, so the knob can go back in there as well. And let's test this. Now I've got no fishing line to tie these down with, so I'll just use a couple of zip ties, I guess. Like this. So let's check the speed on it and adjust it if necessary. I've got two speed adjustment cassettes here. One from Renee and one from the Duplication shop in Canada. And the app out as well. Fitting into the headphones. Let's see how this is going. First, let's try that. The dupe shop, I think they're called. Let's try that tape. So it's fluctuating between 30, 33 and 30, 36, where it should be 3150. Now let's try the tape that Renee made up for me. And this is a bit more stable than that one, I believe. Still fluctuating, but it's slow. Let's see if I adjust the speed to somewhere close where it should be, where it's just going to be just as well and fluttery as it is now. So I might put this extension on the screwdriver, and so I'll leave it there for now. maybe give it a tweak. So this is about as close as I'm going to get it, I think. Between 3150 and 3153. I think this is as good as it's going to get. Let's put some music in it to see how it sounds. Let's get this tape out, rewind it. There's no auto stop on rewind on either deck as far as I can tell. And there's another little glitch with it. Auto stop works on play on this deck, but not on the other deck. And it's not the belts, because when I press on that lever here, even by hand, it will not auto stop. For instance, if I press play on here and I just go touch that auto reverse lever there, it stops the tape automatically and straight away. However, on the playback deck, oh yeah, I can see it, this, no matter how hard I press it, and you can see it going down all the way, even if it just is in the corner that you can see of it, it just does not work. You can see the lever returning to its position and it does not work. So I've got some royalty free music on this tape, and this tune, the first tune on this tape particularly, should really bring out the wow and flutter in this deck. Really audible if there is any, and I think there will be. Let's have a listen. So not so much when it gets going, but at the beginning you can really pick it out. Let's try another tune. So let's try another tune. I think that's down to the belts. Does this deck sound better? Actually, this side might sound better for some reason. rewind. I'm going to rewind it to the beginning and see what this side sounds like. That would be strange if there was a difference between the two. No. Maybe a touch better, but still wobbly as. So those belts probably not ideal for this deck, I'd imagine. So it makes me wonder if it's going to get better with use. In the beginning, when I first tried it, it was even more wobblier than it is now. I've let it play out without any cassettes in there for about 45 minutes or something, and if I can add, that is a pretty good tune. I might let it play like this to exaggerate the well and flutter hours without any tapes. I'll put some more normal music on later and see how that goes, or how it sounds. 1 or 2 hours again. I'm not expecting big differences, but yeah, you never know. Yeah, so before I rudely interrupted myself, I was saying I'm going to let this deck play out for a little while longer and see if that changes anything. And with the auto stop not working, it might have something to do with this spring here being missing. There's 2 springs here, one larger one and one smaller one on this side where the auto stop works. As on the other side where the auto stop doesn't work, there's only the larger spring there, but the smaller one's missing. I've never seen it there. So that might be the cause for auto stop not working on this side of the deck. And there's not a great deal I can do about that spring. All the similar looking mechanisms that I have different spring arrangements for that function. So that's going to have to stay as it is, I'm afraid. What I was able to do is I've given the belt pass a bit more attention. So the motor's got a twin pulley and all these are twin pulleys. So I've made sure that the belt running on the outer, or in this case the inner pulley on here, also runs on the inner pulleys on this one and on the flywheel, and on the other side I have done the same. And what's on the, in this case the inner pulley, corresponds with the inner pulley on here and on the flywheel, which wasn't necessarily the case earlier. So that's hopefully improved things a little bit, and it's still running, and we'll see how the belts settle. I have also tried, without swapping the belts, to see if more tension, this bit spins. Alright, take 2. You're using this screwdriver, like just giving a bit more tension like that, and this thing spins. So yeah, this is probably a better view, and just by giving the belt a bit more tension, like just a primitive way of checking things do not improve. So tighter belts would probably not help in this case. And these other specifications for this particular model. Notice the one flutter figures, they're not too great, and these belts certainly don't help that. But let's have a look how it plays less demanding music. And once again, here's a demanding piece of music. So still fairly wobbly, but I let it play out for more than a few hours yesterday, and it did seem to get a little bit better. Maybe it'll get even better with time as the belts get older and stretch out a little bit, or just fit better whatever they need. I don't think it needs tighter belts. I would think they would even make things worse. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. And this is how this is supposed to sound.